Canada. To the rest of the world, it is the ultimate North American utopia. It's the polite neighbor to the north, a sanctuary of free healthcare, low crime, and endless natural beauty. It's the country that got capitalism right, balancing free markets with a deep social conscience. But if you peel back the maple leaf, you don't find a thriving modern economy. You find a trap, a macroeconomic hostage situation where an entire nation has tied its survival to a single fragile asset. Today on the World Files, we are diving into a 35-minute investigation of the Canadian real estate bubble. We're going to expose how a G7 nation stopped producing, stopped innovating, and turned its entire economy into a giant casino of bricks and drywall. This is the story of what happens when a country's homes start earning more money than its human beings. Let's start with a terrifying piece of mathematics. For the better part of the last decade, if you owned a detached home in Toronto or Vancouver, that physical building generated more tax-free wealth in a single year than the average Canadian citizen earned by actually working. Think about that. You have engineers, teachers, and builders paying heavy income taxes, struggling to buy groceries. Meanwhile, a wooden box built in 1960 sits completely empty, and its equity balloons by $100,000 in 12 months. In international trade and market dynamics, wealth is generated through exchange, innovation, and scaling businesses. If you want a return, you invest in productive assets. You build a global sales pipeline. You invest in broad market index funds that track the world's best companies. You fund startups. But in Canada, why would anyone take the risk of starting a business? Why would you invest your capital in global trade or domestic manufacturing when you can just buy a condo, do absolutely nothing, and watch your net worth explode? Economists call this capital misallocation. I call it an economic suicide pact. Canada has trapped trillions of dollars in dead capital. The money isn't moving. It isn't creating jobs. It isn't producing goods to export. It's just trapped in the drywall, artificially inflating the GDP on paper while the real economy rots from the inside. So how did the prices get this absurd? You can't reach these valuations purely on domestic salaries. The math doesn't work. The answer lies thousands of miles away. Canada didn't just sell houses to Canadians. It sold its real estate market to the globe. Welcome to the world of snowwashing. It is the Canadian version of money laundering. For decades, the Canadian government left gaping loopholes in its corporate registry systems. You could set up an anonymous shell company, wire millions of dollars from anywhere in the world, and buy a block of luxury condos in Vancouver without ever revealing your true identity. Billions of dollars of foreign capital flooded the market. Corrupt politicians, international cartels, and overseas billionaires looking to park their cash safely outside their home countries use Canadian real estate as a giant offshore bank account. The government knew. The banks knew. The real estate agents definitely knew, but the fees were too good and the taxes were rolling in. They sold out the future of the Canadian middle class to international bidders. By 2023, the cracks in the foundation were too big to ignore. The economy was staggering under the weight of household debt. Canadians are now the most indebted citizens in the G7. To keep the music playing, to keep the housing market from collapsing, the government pulled the ultimate macroeconomic lever: hyper-immigration. Immigration, historically, is the engine of a thriving nation. But what Canada did wasn't about building a nation. It was about propping up a Ponzi scheme. They opened the floodgates, bringing in over 1 million people in a single year. International students, temporary foreign workers, and skilled migrants. They sold these young, ambitious people a dream. But when they arrived, they didn't find a booming job market in international trade or tech. They found a cartel-like economy. The government used this mass influx of people for two reasons: to artificially suppress wages for corporations and to guarantee endless demand for rental properties so real estate investors would never lose money. The math is brutal. You bring in 1 million people, but you only build 200,000 homes. Rents skyrocket. The investors get richer. The working class, both native-born and immigrant, is crushed into poverty. It is a system designed to extract wealth from the young to pay for the retirement of the old. And this leads us to the inevitable consequence, the brain drain. If you are a young doctor, a software engineer, or a marketing director, you face a grim reality. You can stay in Canada, give 40 to 50% of your paycheck to the government, and spend the rest paying off $1 million mortgage on a tiny apartment. Or you can look south, to Texas, to Florida, to California, where salaries are 30% higher, taxes are lower, and you can actually afford to build a life. The talent is fleeing. Canada is losing its most productive, innovative citizens. A country cannot survive as a top-tier economy if its only major export is well-educated young people escaping to the United States. The Canadian real estate market is no longer just a sector of the economy. It is the economy. It's an Ouroboros, a snake eating its own tail. If the housing market crashes, the banks take a massive hit, construction stops, the wealth effect evaporates, and the country plunges into a severe recession. But if the housing market doesn't crash, if prices stay this high, an entire generation is permanently locked out of the middle class. The brain drain accelerates, and the country slowly decays into a neo-feudal state of landlords and serfs. There is no painless way out of a trap you spent 20 years building. Canada traded its economic dynamism for the illusion of wealth. They built a nation of millionaires on paper, but impoverished their future. The Canadian illusion is breaking, and the whole world should be taking notes, because if a country this rich, this stable, and this educated can fall into the real estate trap, who's next? Thank you for watching The World Files. Drop your thoughts in the comments. Are we witnessing the end of the Canadian dream? Subscribe, stay sharp, and keep pursuing the truth. I'll see you in the next file.